Hello everybody, greetings. Well, looks like our old backhoe had some engine issues. March 23rd, 2020. We had a miss on number 2 cylinder. So I should have recorded it. Didn't have the camera handy, and you know. But I feel that if I record at least this part, get an idea what's going on in the old world of mechanical issues. Cylinder right here, number 2, at least we've determined is misfiring. And it happened last summer. We used it a bit. I don't believe that it was wasn't hurting it, but just didn't have any power or whatever, so we decided to tear the head off her, and we've determined that well, the pistons themselves are alright. In fact, the guy who used to own this machine, this old Backhoe, which is a 50A Massey Ferguson 50A industrial loader Backhoe, he had a head off a couple of years back, probably 15 years ago, and on first glance we thought, well, heck, that piston there, that's definitely the problem. It's all dented up and stuff. But he informed us that he dropped something on that piston way back, and it caused those marks. So they haven't changed. Inside the cylinder sleeves themselves, because this is a Perkins 203 cubic inch motor, I guess, or engine, we determined that there isn't all that much wear, and this thing's probably got, I don't know, at least 13,000 hours on it. The cross hatching and stuff is wore a bit, or it's gone, but there's minimal wear on there. So I think we're just deciding whether to leave it or get the ball hone in there and hone it out a bit, and maybe take this little fine ridge off where the ring stops. But I think it wasn't burning any oil, so, and it started alright, but it might help, I don't know, might bring the compression up a wee bit if you resurface that or re-hone that a wee bit. But I'm going to look into that. I don't know if that is actually necessary or not. But we did determine what the problem was. Enough light in here, we'll see if I can see it on the camera. So we got the head off, and you can see clear as day what was going on. It was an issue with that valve right there. And that's exhaust valve on number 2. And what I'm suspecting is in there the seat is burnt or something like that, because when it was running it was really kind of making like a chugging sound, but it wasn't, when you put a rag over top the exhaust, it wasn't fluttering or nothing. So I figured the piston was alright, and there wasn't any blow by, nothing out of the ordinary, that is. So I'm going to take that in, and I guess we'll get the machine shop to look at it and see if they can do something with it. I'm sure they can. It's probably just that valve or valve seat or whatever is all messed up and burnt. So other than that, it's just pretty straightforward. Give the thing a little revamping, I guess. For what it does, we're not really gonna, it's not gonna be an everyday work unit, that's for sure. But the price was right originally. And I don't know, I always loved me and my father, we always loved these Masseys. We've got, we got a Massey 40B loader, a Massey 65, and this Massey 50A. And these things are built like, I don't know, back in the day they built them quite heavily. So yeah, I thought I'd give you a little update on that. I don't make too many videos anymore, as like I said in previous videos, they aren't very popular. I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't done anything different. I don't even know why the original ones got popular, but they did, and that was, I thank everyone for sharing them or doing whatever, viewing them. I'd make more, I guess, if I had more popularity. The head gasket, also, I guess, could note that. There it is right up here. Well, my hands are all greasy, but there was a concern right in here. I thought, well, heck, maybe, but that's number 4, number 3, and they seem to be firing just fine. Although I didn't have a compression tester, we determined that they were firing because when we took the injectors out, the only one that was actually, it was wet inside, it was this number 2, and all the rest of them, you could see the carbon and everything was all burnt on them, like it should be, like carbon residue from the burnt fuel. And it seemed alright. So I don't know whether we did this here while we were trying to pry the head off. And I guess that's another note. I don't know, the guys that work on these old Perkins motors, they're probably quite familiar with it. And my grandfather stopped by and told me about it because we were stumped as hell. These have, I was showing you before, these actually have studs in them instead of straight head bolts. And back in the time when they first made these blocks and heads and stuff, they didn't really allow for much room around the or clearance for when the head goes in between this bolt stud and the head itself. So what happens with these, my grandfather told me, is they bind up on you, and it bound up on, I believe it was this one here, and we were stumped to what we were going to have to do. Like, we thought, well, maybe we have to try to go get the drastic measure and somehow burr that or whatever and get that threaded out of the block so we could get that out, but it was just essentially brute force and prying and stuff. And we had the jack or the loader on here on the chain with the chain mounts on that head, and we put some upward pressure on there and prying on both sides, and we finally got it cracked loose. But that stud was, we could see it moving between all the other studs. It was free, and this one here you could see was tight as hell. And as you can see with the light, it's quite, all compared to all the other ones, this one here, but this one here is, you can see it's really kind of gummy and stuff. So that was the issue, but it did come loose finally. And I guess the further revisions on this block, they decided to add more clearance on the holes in the cylinder heads, so this problem wouldn't occur. And I'm sure it happened a lot in these things. This thing is old. I think this is a late, it'd be I think it's a really early 70s model. So it would be, if you had the 65 series, it would be a 165 would coincide with that series of tractor. But it's the same block in the 65 series and the 165 series. So it's the same with the industrials, because they had essentially like a 65 series in industrials, and then they had the, I think they were still labeled 40s and stuff like that all throughout the whole time making them, but they had different revisions. The fenders were rounded on the original ones and stuff like that, where these ones had more of a square look to them. And I believe that maybe the hood on the industrials were rounded more like the 65s, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, I got my hands all greasy, and no, I never wear gloves, so I guess if I die of cancer someday in my fingers, well, tough luck, I guess. It's just life. But anyway, I hope you somewhat enjoyed this video.